Hello, today we are going to talk about Ryo Midori, the photographer and newspaper editor ready to get the photo and scoop. So let's begin. Ryo Midori is a 15-year-old attack-type magical girl. Her eyes are red and her hair is blonde, and she is 166 centimeters in height. Ryo's soul gem is a teal oval located on her necktie when in her magical girl form. Her weapon is a bazooka, and she has the witchen doppel form called Paparazzo. Her wish to become a magical girl came from never wanting to miss the perfect picture. I never want to miss the perfect picture. Her known relatives are her unnamed parents, and she comes from Daito Ward in Kamihama City. She was once in the magical girl group, Wings of Magia, as a white feather until it disbanded. She joined up with the Kamihama Magic Union, and she attends the Nagi Literary Academy in the 9th grade. Her magical girl element is the fire element, and her ability is reliable photography, infallible. A gossip generation magical girl, she takes photos of everything and reports it regardless if it's good or bad. She collects material on school problems among the students, and because of this, everyone is both afraid of her and entertained by her. In fact, her photo hobby, today's kitty cat, seems to be the most popular among students. The doppel of gossip. Its form is a TLR camera. The master of this emotion continually sought the truth in accordance with her desires. Her doppel likewise responds to those desires in extreme excess, able to expose an opponent's truth simply by photographing them in full. Any truth that the doppel unveils can never be forgotten. This applies to both the subject and the photographer that are fixed within the gaze of the doppel's twin lenses, with the unveiled truth being burned into both of their memories, an equal amount of anger if it finds anger, or an equal amount of sorrow if it finds sorrow. Should this doppel's master continue to use it, she will become unable to open her heart to anyone without first using her doppel's ability to expose everything about them. At the Wings of Magia's headquarters, Ryo is writing an article for Magia's, with some of the other feathers help her by reporting things to her for her articles. Ikumi, dressed in a black feather robe, interrupts Ryo, who is caught off guard as she didn't think anyone would show up at the time, as she doesn't have her own robes on and the Wings of Magia's aren't supposed to show their faces, even to each other. Quickly drawing on her white feather robe, she asks the black feather what the matter is, only for Ikumi to take off her robe and laugh. Ikumi asks if she startled Ryo, who takes her white robe back off and stands frowning. Ikumi worries she might have upset Ryo, as Ryo continues to stand angrily until she suddenly breaks out in laughter. She says the stern look on revealing her tensing her. Ikumi is also a little thrown off since Ryo isn't the kind of to tease others as well. Ikumi had come over to invite Ryo for some tea, seeing as she had a bit of time before her shift at the maid cafe. Ryo had just finished working on her brochure for the Wings of Magia thanks to the help of some of the other feathers. Ryo asks if she can interview Ikumi for the brochure, as well as Ikumi is happy to oblige. Turning so Ryo can photograph her from her cutest angle, Ryo reminds her they wear robes to hide their faces, and her picture won't be in the brochure. She asks what the interview is for, and Ryo says she wants to know what happened between the time Ikumi contracted and her becoming a feather. Ryo assures her that her name won't be used in order to assure her anonymously. Ikumi muses that her and Ryo are tied by fate and thinks it would be nice to talk about why she became the magical girl. She's less concerned about her story being published and is more concerned with Ryo hearing it. In exchange, Ikumi asks her to hear Ryo's wish and story, as long as Ryo isn't against telling her. Ryo agrees since it's only fair. The story goes into a flashback into Daito Ward. Ryo's mother is talking about the neighbor's girl's marital problems with her husband. Ryo listens disheartenedly as her parents gossip about the girl's marriage. It seems that while her parents approve of her marriage, her grandfather, who is from Mizuna Ward, did not. They explain to Ryo that in the past, Daito and Minazuka had a lot of conflict. Previously, Mizuna had pushed Daito to renovate the old-fashioned school that Ryo currently attends. But children today don't know about the conflict since it happened a long time ago. Her parents say that as long as the generation still lives, the conflict is still remembered. Ryo makes a mental note to investigate what went on between the East and the West. She thinks about how even though she loves hearing the gossip that goes on between her parents, it also holds no real connection to the problems of Kamehama. Ryo suddenly realizes she's late for school and runs off. On her way to school, she hears splashing and sees a white whale in the ocean by the harbor. As she chuckles to herself and plans on telling everyone in school about it, she remembers all the other incredible things she's seen and how no one in her class believed her. All her life, Ryo had ran into unbelievable things fairly often and no one would believe it. It was in the middle of the normal day. Ryo is describing the white whale she saw to her classmate, who tells her wild story is only worth 60 points at best. The girl tells Ryo she'll need proof in order for everyone to believe her. As Ryo considers asking her parents for a camera, she and her classmate hear a voice crying out from the music room. The two girls head towards the music room to investigate. Inside, a girl and a boy are bullying another boy for his monthly allowance. The boy threatens to tell the teacher on them, but the bullies laugh since no one would believe a failure like him over honor students like themselves. Ryo and her classmate recognize the bullies from class the next door and note that their leader happens to also be the class president. They manage to hide as the bullies leave the music room, and both of them decide to tell the teacher what happened. In the classroom, the boy bully denies the whole story, claiming it to be a misunderstanding. The girl bully claims the boy was nervous and they were helping him practice for his song rehearsal. The boy is beaten by the bullies and reluctantly agrees to their side of the story. Ryo and her classmate insist they know what they saw, and the boy bully tells the teacher that Ryo can't be trusted since she has a reputation for making things up. Ryo's classmate insists she saw it as well, but without proof, the teacher isn't convinced. Afterwards, Ryo overhears some of the classmates saying she's spreading rumors and lies again, which proves to Ryo important proof can be as people won't believe anything that can be seen for themselves. The following day, Ryo is elated to have a new camera that her parents bought her, and that she's able to take it with her to school. As she's walking, a car zooms past her at high speed, narrowly missing Ryo and colliding with an innocent woman who is passing by. Ryo is at a loss as to what to do with the car takes off from the scene. Even though Ryo knew that proof wasn't important, She was so frazzled that she could do was watch the car sped away. She didn't think to use the camera she had just brought, nor was she able to memorize the license plate. Cube appears to have been watching all of this. At the hospital, Ryo is unable to answer questions about the car involved in the hit and run. The staff assures her she did more than enough just by calling the ambulance and staying by the woman's side, but Ryo can't shake the guilt she feels since she was unable to obtain proof of the car. Cube continues to watch her from afar. The people investigating the accident are disheartened since Ryo can't remember much and she was the only witness. Back at home, Ryo worries since they said they would contact her if they found the culprit, but no word has reached her yet. Since she berates herself for not memorizing the license plate or getting proof with her camera. Ryo's mother leaves for grocery shopping as Ryo shuts herself in her room. At this point, Cube appears and introduces himself. Even though now that Ryo knows more about magical girls and realizes she was the perfect prey for him, she couldn't shake the feelings of guilt and she had that time. Ryo asks Cube if she can have any wish granted and wonders if it's possible to wish for the culprit of the hit and run to be apprehended. Cube responds that the hit and runs happen all the time, all over the planet, and asks which culprits she would want to be apprehended. Ryo rethinks her wish, not wanting to be caught in the same situation, and decides to wish to never miss a photo opportunity. Ryo worries a bit since her life is still largely the same after contracting. Other than the fact that she has to fight witches now, she takes a moment to snap a picture of the sunset as well as the repair shop nearby. Ryo shows the photos she took to her mother, who marvels at the sunset and the reflection of the car repair shop. She notes that their business must not be doing so great since they have only one car in their shop. It's then that Ryo notices that the car in the repair shop is the same car from the hit and run. It was there to get the dent caused by the accident fixed. Ryo quickly calls the number from the investigators with her photo acting as proof. The culprit is soon arrested and the woman in the hospital thanks Ryo for all she has done. Ryo is intently pleased that her wish really was granted. At school, Hino laments that something came out the wrong color when she hears the shutter click of a camera and yells at Ryo for going around taking pictures of other people's failures. Ryo claims it wasn't on purpose before running off. She hides in the classroom, telling herself she did it again when she notices the teacher in the classroom across the hall. She snaps a picture of the teacher and someone else. Outside in the hallway, two girls are talking about how Ryo has been taking photos of others when they are down. Ryo overhears them calling her a cheap and how she probably is taking revenge on everyone who has called her a liar. At the subway, Ryo sees the neighborhood lady that her parents were gossiping about. She sees them with several luggage bags and deludes that they decided to move out together despite her grandfather's opinion. She takes a photo of the occasion and thinks they may be a secret from their families. She decides to delete the photo as soon as possible. Back at home, Ryo is going through her photographs when she comes across the photo of a young couple. She thinks about how she didn't want to take these kinds of photos since it makes her seem like she's personally trying to start trouble. It was both a contribution to her wish and her tendency to witness rare things. Ryo continues taking photographs, and one day, as her mom was scolding through the pictures, she came across the photo of the young couple. Ryo realized she had forgotten to delete the photo and demanded her camera back. Her mother was eager to gossip to her father about it when she realized she had proof that the rumors that the couple next door really were running away together were true. Ryo storms out of the house. Ryo runs off to the park and wonders why her parents were obsessed with gossip and whatever it had passed on to her since she kept talking taking those kinds of pictures. After some time, she began to resent her parents. One day, Ryo wondered if she shouldn't leave her camera behind, but couldn't in case something like a hit and run were to happen again. As she goes through her photos on her camera, she sees one of the classmates back when the incident with the bullies happened. She wonders why her classmate was there since she was too upset that the bullies were getting away with it when they told the teacher. Ryo decides to talk with her in private, and the next day at school, since she didn't want to jump into any conclusions, Ryo then gathers several photos of her classmates and realizes they all lead to her being one of the bullies as well. The next day, Ryo meets with her classmate and shows her the photographic evidence. She tells her friend that she needs to cut out the bullying, as these photos are the only proof of her bullying others. Her friend tries to defend herself, saying the class president will pick on her otherwise. She claims the teacher is on the other side as well, since they are all from the Minazuna ward and wouldn't have believed them even with proof since Ryo is from Daito ward. It seems her classmate has picked up the prejudice of the adults around her. Ryo runs off in tears and her friend cries out that she doesn't think they think that way. Ryo has never considered the West and East problem of Kamehama as part of her life until then. The sting of the person whom she thought as a friend was too much. Ryo cries and runs into the chemistry lab where Hinano finds her. Determined to not mess up a result, she asks Ryo what's wrong and often to listen to since she's a magical girl. Ryo cries out everything about her life, from the accident and her contract and everything that had happened recently. She asks Hano if she was glad she became a magical girl. Hano says she is, but she also regrets it. All things come with both good and bad, and she tells Ryo about the time when she was a scarcity of witches in the city. The East and West magical girls fought for territory daily. She wished she had been stronger in order to stop some of the obsession that went on in those days, where magical girls robbed others for their grief seeds. Hano explains how you can't always do the right thing in the face of some injustices, so she should decide on what to do and act on it. She needs to decide on what to do with her power on her own. Hano suggests she talks to Kanagi. After going home and resting, Ryo calls Hinano a mini-mom after hearing her advice and heads out. After meeting with Kanagi, Ryo decides to use her power for both good and bad. She's determined to use her power only to show the truth to others, even if the truth can be both beautiful and ugly. She names the newspaper club into the gossip club. Hino sees a copy of the gossip club's paper, the Midori report, hanging up in the school hall. In it is the article about her successes in the lab. Everything from small everyday things to big terrible things such as the bullying being covered up by the teacher as was in it. Soon the bullies she previously encountered began to worry, and even the teachers were talking about it since the proof was in the photos that accompanied the articles. Although the teachers involved became angry, he backed down lest she exposed the truth further, and issues of the Midori report just kept coming. Soon becoming a staple of the school, Ryo received fan mail both admonishingly for her and thanking her. Ryo remained troubled, however, and one day she narrowly defeated a witch. She realized that no one knew about how difficult it was to be a magical girl, risking her life fighting. She resolves to make the next issue of her report about witches and magical girls. Ryo tracks down a witch and enters her barrier. Pleased to note not two only other magical girls beaten her to it. Ryo intends to photograph the other magical girls fighting with the witch and be ready to jump in should they need the help. Instead, she showed up just in time to photograph the moment of one of the magic girls unleashed her doppel. She watches dumbfounded as the doppel and the witch fight until the barrier begins to collapse. She urges the magical girl she was watching, Ikumi, to escape while she carries her friend who has collapsed from exhaustion. Safely outside of the barrier, Ikumi tries to wake her friend, Yuki, who is badly injured. Ryo asks her about what she just saw, but Ikumi doesn't know and wonders if it's a bad thing. Ryo urges her to take her friend to Mitima's place and asks if she knows anything about it. There, Mitima explains to the two girls about doppels. Ryo thinks that the doppels look like with witches and decides to postpone her article until she can gather more evidence, but she hesitates to do so. Mitima then leaks the information about Ryo and Ikumi knowing about doppels to the Wings of Magius. Later, Tusaka and Mifuru find Ryo and introduce themselves. They explain to Ryo the truth about magical girls and witches, and Ryo is shocked to discover she was betrayed by Kyubey. Mifuru and Tusaka leave Ryo to decide for herself if she wants to join their group that is dedicated to liberating magical girls from this fate. Ryo ponders this decision all night, knowing from existence that the girls weren't lying to her, but they weren't exactly trustworthy either. The next day, she joined the Wings of Magius and started staying at the headquarters. After being given a white robe, Mifuru introduces her to the Black Feathers that will be under her command. Ryo and one of the Black Feathers, Ikumi, quickly recognize each other. Ryo finishes telling her story to Ikumi, who is saddened to hear about all the things that Ryo had to go through. Ryo cheers up, saying it doesn't bother her anymore, and teases her about keeping up her pop idol persona. Ikumi asks to see the article Ryo will be writing about her once she's done, but Ryo won't publicly publish it, something that was told to her in the conference. The girls realize the time and Ikumi rushes off to her shift at the Maid Cafe. Back outside, Ryo notices a cat and snaps its picture for the next issue of her Midori report. It's really unknown what her ability does, but with the name Reliable Photography Infallible, we know it is related to her wish. With her weapon being a bazooka, she could be able to not miss a shot and a photo. Her first name, Ryo, means command, while her last name, Midori, means appearance and bird, respectively. Fact 1, her illustrator is Ryu Nagi. Fact 2, she likes her camera so much that it appears in her wedding animation. Fact 3, her doppel's name is Paparazzo, which is derived from paparazzi, but is a singular version of the word paparazzo, was the name of a character from the movie La Dosa Vita, whose name became a concept to denote aggressively determined gossip press photographers. Fact 4, the words in the ruins of her doppel reads as Gossip Doll, and when her doppel attacks by taking a photograph, the side of the film reads 51 Scandal Film 800. Fact 5, the form of Ryo's doppel is the TLR camera. Also known as a two-lens reflex camera, this is a type of camera with two objective lenses of the same focal length. One of the lenses is a photographic type objective or talking lens, the lens that takes the picture, while the other is used for the viewer finder system, which is usually reviewed from above a waist level. In addition to the objective, the viewfinder consists of a 55-degree mirror. The reason for the word reflex is in the name. A method of focusing a screen, the top of the camera, and the pop-up hood surrounding it. The two objectives are connected so that the focus is shown on the focusing screen will be exactly the same as on the film. Fact 6. Ryo Midori's VA is Maki Kawase, who you may know for playing El Hoshino in Dragon Pilot, Jose in Moshino, Junko Kono in Zombieland Saga, and Yuma in Kuma 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 Bear. Erica Lindbeck is listed as Ryo's English VA, and you know her Lindbeck from a lot of roles, but here are 3 of her most famous ones. She's the new voice of Vesfest in the Sailor Moon series Viz Media dub. She is Catalina Elise in Ganbu Fantasy, the animation, and Futaba Sakura in Persona 5. And that's Ryo Midori. Next time, we're going to talk about a magical around nature, Chika Oiba. So see you next time.